Now, wasn't that the most amazing day? I took you out for some fishing down by the river, wined and dined you at the town square, and then we got to see the most perfect sunset over the ocean. It's moments like that I live for, darling. And all it took was finally getting away from that old farm of mine. I mean, we were chased off, but still. Hmm. When I was young, and in Montel, I would have never thought that a day like this would ever be possible for me. It was always just barely getting by and doing whatever my owners told me to. But I bet my parents would have loved to see this place. Like this. This freedom. Hmm? Oh, my parents? Nah, it's fine. I kinda barely knew 'em anyway. Except for the little I was allowed to cross their paths. My mother was called Wanda, and my father was Ford. I get my orange hair and fur from my mother, and my horns and eyes from my father. I didn't really know him too well, since I was part of a pedigree. Yeah, a pedigree. It means I was born within the walls of Montel, created to only serve a purpose, created by a noble who paid for me to be conceived in the first place. My parents weren't some love story that found love in captivity and had a son who eventually escaped. No. My life hasn't been some big fairy tale. When a noble offers enough money to House Fane, they can purchase a pedigree. It basically means they can pay for whatever half-blood they want to be born, and then once nursing is over, sold back to them once we can take care of ourselves well enough. My parents were given an order. And, we know what happens if you didn't follow commands in Montel. So, that's how I came to be in captivity. I was never captured, I was just always there. It felt weird. Weird, and I didn't know my place in the world. Until the day came when I found my real parents. They told me stories of freedom, the outside world, things to live for. A reason to continue on and get out of this place that caused me so much pain. So, my mission as I grew up was to find a way to get me and my parents out to that distant idea they called freedom. But, like I said, I don't have the luxury of being in a fairy tale. They didn't make it out before I was old enough. But that's just how it goes in Montel. Once you no longer have a purpose, they send you to the arena. And you know what happens next. Ugh. And I still remember the nobles that ordered my pedigree. A couple of folk from House Deandra ordered a pure beast of burden for their new daughter as a gift. Her name was Frey, and she was a terrible person. As she grew up with me, she ordered me around to carry all of her belongings and purchases. She was the most greedy person I've ever met. If she wanted something even on a whim, it was given to her, no questions asked. Or else there were consequences. That's what happens when you're the first daughter of a different lord. And I had to carry the products of her wants and needs around every single day, no matter how much it was. And if I couldn't, well, yeah. And as you can see, I'm a big guy. You can thank Frey for needing everything in sight. And she always had some sick fascination with the half-bloods too. So, after her 20th birthday, she ordered me to do something terrible. It was disgusting. So disgusting, I couldn't help but resist. And then, when she didn't get what she wanted, she told the lord of the house that I had done something else terrible. And so, he had me sold to another lord of House Fane. And he was worse. That's how I got my brand on my back. He made me work in his gardens and said that half-bloods only need dirt to survive. And soon, once he got bored of me, he sold me to the hag, who runs the arena. And well, I guess you know the rest. One day, a human left my cage open, and then I ran like there was no tomorrow. Used what I had learned from gardening in that guy's home to start a little farm in a secluded place. And even with the sanctuary, I sort of grew a dislike for crowds and people in general. Frey made it a habit of publicly humiliating her toys. And so, there, on my farm, I lived for a few years. Until a weird little portal opened up above one of my fields, and a human, unlike any I have ever seen, fell out. Now here we are. And I'm happy. Happy with a human. I never thought I'd ever say that in my life, though. But you've shown me that it's not what you look like that matters. It's about a person's heart and how their soul looks. And when I look at you and I see yours, I feel like I'm staring at the most beautiful sight I have ever seen. And that's saying a lot. You saw the glowing beach, right? I seen that. And I still think you're 1,000 times more beautiful. But it's the truth. You're the best thing to happen to me in my miserable life up to this point. And I'll do whatever is necessary to make sure you stay safe and happy. My promise, darling. Now, as we were leaving the town square, I may or may not have snagged some fresh fruit and flour. So, what do you say about ending this day with a nice little pie? Huh, cutie pie? Oh, well then, darling. Let's slip into something a little bit more comfortable, pour some drinks, and get to mixing. Oh, and darling, just know one thing. No matter what, I love you. No matter who you are, what you look like, or whatever you've done. The you I know, the real you, is the you I love. So, if you never change, I promise I won't either. Then it's a deal.